Media is one of the most powerful tools in combating stigma and improving the lives of women. It's the very thing also that can hold us back, but it's the very thing that can fix everything. My name is Kiran Gandhi, and I'm here at the Lear Center to talk about the influence of media today in women's lives. I was in my second year of business school at Harvard, and I had spent the entire year training for my first ever marathon. And I remember getting to the start line in London and realizing that I was about to get my period. And it was one of those things where I was hoping maybe I'd get it later that week, or that it wouldn't be an issue at all, but the timing was totally not on my side. And so, like any of us who've been caught unprepared on our cycles, I started going through my options. In my mind, I thought, I want to run in the way that's most comfortable to me. And I know that these pants feel good. I know this shirt feels good. I was wearing my breast cancer care shirt. We had raised money for breast cancer. And I said, I'm just going to bleed freely and run. The more I started running and bleeding and realizing that I was finally showing a little bit of a stain, I thought about how, while I had the choice in that moment to reject my own stigma, and to reject the shame in my life associated with periods, millions of women and girls around the world are not. Either they don't have access to the products they need to be able to feel comfortable when they go to school or the workplace, and for those who can't afford it or who can't speak up and ask for what they need, they end up self-selecting out and staying at home. In India, only 12% of women actually have access to the tampons and pads or products they need to take care of themselves. In Uganda, each year, 37% of girls drop out of school because they don't have access to the products they need, either locally or because they can't afford them. All over the world, the taboo is so strong that we don't tie menstrual health and menstrual equity directly to gender inequality in most countries. I decided to write on my website, on my blog, about this experience and the significance of it, the symbolism behind deciding to show blood and deciding to say, I'm going to take ownership of something that happens to all of us around the world each month and talk about it. Mike.com picked it up and asked if they can run the story, and I was like, of course. But then it started trending in Australia, and then it started trending in Nigeria, and then BBC London was on the phone with me, and then the New York Times was giving me calls. And before I knew it, I had just graduated from business school, and I was trying to get a job at Spotify, and my phone and my emails were blowing up. The story ended up going completely viral. This movement is definitely called menstrual equity, and it's all about combating stigma and shame associated with very normal practices and very normal behaviors of the human body. I don't think there was much of a cohesive period activism movement in the mainstream media until the marathon story went viral and people really started connecting the dots of people before me to the action. I had known about Rupi Kaur's story where she posted actually not even a real photo of blood, it was just painted blood on her Instagram, and Instagram had her take it off as something that was considered inappropriate content, and her fight actually won and Instagram reinstated the photo. There was another moment that I had heard about in 2012, a rebellious group in Madrid called Sangre Menstrual, and they would paint their crotch red and wear white pants and go to work as an act of combating the shame. Media is so powerful in living years ahead of where we lie. The role of the media is the very place where everyone normalizes societal norms. It's the place where if everyone's talking about it, no longer is it weird. It's the place where if you thought a thought in your head, but then you see it on social media, you see advertising companies responding that way, you see articles covering these issues, then you're gonna take a moment and be like, oh, maybe I'm not the crazy one. The marathon going viral affected my life in a way that I never could have anticipated. This whole year was about taking that megaphone opportunity, the fact that I was able to have a voice in this conversation, and marrying it with the very thing that I do best, which is play music. I'm actually wearing a shirt today that says, "Own your voice, don't be afraid." And it's a quote from my song, "The Future is Female." This record is about owning your voice. It's about being honest about the times when you're very vulnerable and the times when you feel very powerful. And it's also a literal reference to me using my voice in many different ways on the record itself. You'll hear me hum, make weird sounds, do vocal percussion, and then of course sing. I wish we lived in a world where we encourage young people, and all of us really, to have a voice in the same way that I think some of the most powerful members of our society do. It's been such a powerful year of watching so many men and women, and all genders in between, speak up about menstrual health, menstrual hygiene, and menstrual equity. Because all of us have a different story one way or another. All of us have a different struggle when it comes to that particular topic, and all of us see different ways that we can make these improvements. When I think about all the different people who have spoken up and who've used their various skill sets to combat this topic, that's the thing that makes me most excited, because we need people from each of these wheelhouses to do their best work so that we fix this issue across the board.